Sister Wives Preview. Kody Brown worried men at church want Robyn. Is Kody Brown's life as a monogamous man under threat? During last week's episode of Sister Wives, Aurora and Brianna asked Robyn for permission to attend church. She agreed, but then thought it would be a good idea to shop around for churches. In a preview for Sunday night's new episode, it seems like Robyn is going to ask Kody for permission to attend church as well. The family patriarch clearly has some hesitation and expresses concern that other men will try to steal Robyn from him. Read on to get the scoop. Kody Brown feels apprehensive about Robyn meeting other men at church. Many Sister Wives viewers thought it was incredibly odd that Brianna and Aurora asked their mother's permission to attend church. But even more bizarrely in the new episode, Robyn seems to ask Kody's permission to do the same thing. Faith has always been a focal point of the Brown family, but Kody Brown admits he has some reservations about his family trying out new churches without him. "You don't want to go too long without me because I don't want some guy thinking you're a single mom," Kody adamantly told his wife in a teaser, as reported by People. The scene then shifts to a confessional where Kody discusses how there are many men out there who want to date Robyn. "There's a lot of men interested in Robyn," he tells cameras in a confessional, "and they were sort of trying to get around me and to her." Kody goes on to talk about how he and Robyn had an instant connection at church when their eyes locked across the room. Robyn describes the moment as intense and as if a bolt of lightning struck her. What if she were to have that connection with someone else? Robyn promises to ward off suitors with her wedding ring. Kody eventually gives Robyn his blessing to attend church, but he makes his fears known. "I don't want some guy doing that, looking at you and holding your gaze," Kody tells his wife. "I'm the mate guarding now. I'm protecting the pride." Robyn shrugs it off, saying all she has to do is inform others that she's happily married. Kody demands that she hold up her wedding ring as Robyn giggles and promises to wear it to church. "I just want to make sure that bling was big enough that guys would stay away from you," he says as the clip concludes. Kody Brown sat at the head of the long dining table in Robyn's home, his fingers drumming an erratic rhythm against the polished wood. He barely touched the cup of coffee sitting in front of him, steam rising in lazy spirals, ignored. His wives used to say he was always calm, collected, the charismatic patriarch of their family. But this was a crisis he hadn't seen coming. "They're vultures," he finally muttered, breaking the uneasy silence. Robyn, seated across from him, looked up from her phone, her brows knitting together in confusion. "Who's a vulture?" "The men at church," Kody said, his tone tinged with accusation, though it wasn't clear if it was directed at her or the unseen threat. "You saw how they were looking at you last Sunday." Robyn tilted her head slightly, her glossy curls bouncing with emotion. "I have no idea what you're talking about. They were being polite, friendly, even." Kody's chair screeched as he leaned back sharply, his hands flung wide in exasperation. "Friendly? That wasn't friendly, Robyn. That was predatory. They see you as a free woman now that the family dynamic has shifted. They think you're available." The word available hung in the air, a ghost of tension between them. Robyn crossed her arms, her posture stiffening. "I'm not available, Kody. I'm still your wife." He sighed, running a hand through his unruly curls. "But the way they look at you, Robyn, it's like they're waiting for a crack, a chance to step in." Robyn's lips pressed into a thin line. Her relationship with Kody had always been under scrutiny, both from the outside world and within their own family. She'd learned to steel herself against judgment, but this felt different. This felt personal. "I think you're overreacting," she said cautiously. "Overreacting?" Kody's voice rose, a mix of disbelief and frustration. "Robyn, I'm trying to protect you. Protect us." She shook her head. "I appreciate that, Kody, but you can't control how people look at me. Or what they think. It's not something we can change." Kody's jaw clenched, his eyes narrowing as if the weight of the world rested on his shoulders. In many ways, he believed it did. The family had been through so much already. Cristin's departure, the fracture of relationships, the growing distance with Janelle and Mary. He felt like he was grasping at straws to hold onto what remained. But this felt like a direct challenge to his role as a husband and protector. Later that evening, Kody couldn't shake the feeling gnawing at his chest. He had spent years navigating the complexities of plural marriage, the delicate balance of affection, jealousy, and responsibility. Yet, the idea of another man's interest in Robyn felt like an entirely new kind of threat. He decided to pay Janelle a visit, hoping for some insight or at least someone to validate his concerns. Her RV was parked on the outskirts of the family's property, a stark contrast to the cozy suburban home Robyn inhabited. Janelle opened the door, her expression neutral but wary. "Kody, didn't expect to see you here tonight. Can we talk?" he asked, his tone unusually soft. She stepped aside, gesturing for him to come in. The RV was modest but functional, reflecting Janelle's practical nature. She motioned for him to sit at the small dinette while she busied herself with a kettle. "What's on your mind?" Kody hesitated, unsure how to broach the subject without sounding paranoid. Finally, he said, "Have you noticed anything unusual at church?" Janelle's brow furrowed as she turned to face him. "Unusual how?" "The men," he clarified, "the way they act around Robyn." She gave a short laugh, shaking her head. "Kody, are you serious? You think the men at church are, what, plotting to woo Robyn?" "I'm not saying they're plotting," he replied defensively. "But I see the way they look at her. It's disrespectful." Janelle set the kettle down with a sigh, crossing her arms as she leaned against the counter. "Look, I don't doubt that some people might find Robyn attractive. She's a beautiful woman, but you can't police how people think or feel. You got bigger things to worry about." "Like what?" Kody asked, genuinely perplexed. Janelle's gaze softened, but there was a hint of exasperation in her voice. "Like the state of this family, Cristin's gone. Mary's barely hanging on. And you and we're not exactly on steady ground either. Maybe you should focus on fixing what's broken instead of chasing shadows." Her words hit him like a bucket of cold water. He'd always prided himself on being the glue that held the family together, but lately it felt like he was the one pulling it apart. The following Sunday, Kody couldn't help but scrutinize every interaction Robyn had at church. He watched as she smiled politely at the congregation, her hands clasped demurely in front of her. A few men approached her, exchanging pleasantries, and though their demeanor seemed innocent enough, Kody's stomach churned. One man in particular caught his attention. Tall, with a neatly trimmed beard and an easy smile, he lingered just a little too long in conversation with Robyn. Kody's fists clenched at his sides, his jaw tightening as he fought the urge to intervene. After the service, he cornered Robyn in the parking lot. "Who was that?" he demanded, his voice low but intense. Robyn's eyes widened in surprise. "Who?" "The guy you were talking to, the one with the beard." She frowned, genuinely puzzled. "That was Brother Matthew. He was just asking about the kids. He's been a family friend for years, Kody." "Family friend or not, he needs to back off," Kody said, his tone leaving no room for argument. Robyn's expression hardened. "Kody, you're being ridiculous. You can't control who talks to me. That's not fair." "I'm not trying to control you," he insisted, though the words felt hollow even to him. I need to protect what we have." "Protect us from what?" she shot back. "From your own insecurities?"